Hey, Mr. Fives class. We're going to take a look at what we're going to go over during week 7 in math class. This week, it's time to shine for most of you. We're going to be going over multiplication, and a lot of you have been doing really well with your time test. So I hope you're feeling really excited and confident about this week. So this week, what we're going to do is we're going to review or learn how to multiply multi-digit factors by multi-digit factors. We're also going to look at key mathematical vocabulary to help us solve word problems with multiplication. So the first thing we're going to look at is multiplying multi-digit numbers. So there's some different strategies that we're going to talk about. You can use any one that you would like. They'll all end up coming up with the same product. We're going to look at the traditional multiplication, the way that most of us have learned how to multiply. How to use a multiplication grid, multiplying by place values or the value of the digits, and the lattice method. So first, let's take a look at the traditional multiplication. In traditional multiplication, we're going to line up the numbers and multiply the digits in the ones place. So we take the 4 times the 5, it would give us 20. So we put the 0, carry the 2. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14, so we get 140. We're going to cross off the number we just multiplied through by, and we drop a 0 into its place value. Then we would multiply through by the 2. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and then we would add those up. So that's the traditional way that we're going to be looking at during the week, and that's probably a way a lot of you have seen it done before. The next way is using a multiplication grid. So in this way, or in this method, we're going to look at how to break the numbers apart by the value of each, and then we're going to multiply across the grid. So, for example, in the problem 74 times 23, we're going to break 74 into 70, because there's 7 tens, which is 70, and 4 ones, which is 4, times 20, which there are 2 tens, which is 20, and 3 ones, so 23. And then we'll just multiply by the grid. So we would take 70 times 20, that's 1,400, and then 70 times 3, which is 210. Then we multiply through by this 4. 4 times 20 is 80, and then 4 times 3 is 12. Once you get these 4 numbers in the grid, or whatever amount of numbers you have in your grid, you would add those numbers up to get your product. The next one is multiplying through by the place value. So for this problem, 43 times 12, they're going to multiply 43 by the values of the 2 digits in 12. So the first thing we're going to do is do 43 times 2, because the 2 is in the ones place, so 43 times 2, which is 86. And then they're going to be 43 times 10, because there's a 1 in the tens place, which that's how you got 12, 10 plus 2. So we're going to do 43 times 10, which is 430. And then we would just add those up. Very similar to the traditional method, but it does break it up a little bit, and we don't have to remember to cross off a number and drop a 0 in this method. The final method that we're going to take a look at, and I would say this is probably the most difficult one to understand, but I also think it's going to be the easiest because you multiply one-digit numbers by one-digit numbers in this method. So, for example, if we had 36 times 27, the traditional method you'd see right here, and we get the result of 972. In the lattice method, you're going to set up boxes. So you would set up the 2-digit number 36 on the top, 27 on the side. You'd put almost like the grid that we had, but then we'd cut the boxes in half. And then the first thing we would do is 6 times 2 equals 12. So right here, 6 times 2 is 12. So we put the 1 in this section and the 2 here to get 12. The third step would be then to do the rest of the problem. So we would have 3 times 2, which is 6, and we'd put the 0 in this box. Then we would do 6 times 7, which is 42, so you have the 4 and the 2. And then 3 times 7, which is 21, so we have the 2 and we have the 1. So once you have all that, then we're going to diagonally add up the numbers. So here we have 0, then we have 1 plus 6 plus 2, which is 9. Then we do 2 plus 4 plus 1, which would be 7. and then we just have a 2, which is 2. And then you start here at the top and you work your way back around, and we have a 0972, which is 972, and it matches what the traditional method showed. So this could be something that a lot of kids might like to use because, like I said, it's going to break the numbers down into multiplying single-digit numbers by single-digit numbers. But you have to make sure you're taking your time, writing your grid nice and neat. The final thing we're going to talk about during the week is how to use key vocabulary for multiplication. So a lot of times, and previously last week or the last couple weeks, we've talked about one of the biggest problems we've had is knowing what to do with all the numbers in a word problem. So we have our key vocabulary we put in our journals earlier this year, but here are some of the key vocabulary that we're going to cover dealing with when multiplication is needed. So if you see the word area in a problem, volume, multiplied by, of, per, product of, times, triple, twice, and there's some other ones that we might possibly go over in class, but these are the main ones that we're going to see in 5th grade when we look at word problems. So, memorizing these and being able to recognize these and know to multiply when you see them within a word problem will help you guys feel more comfortable and confident when solving a word problem. So I'm really excited about this week. I hope you guys are too. And let's get to work. It's time to shine.